Be ready. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Chairman, I want to make a few remarks on this budget, not from an economist point of view, but from the point of view of a layman and one who has studied it from a purely common sense point of view. The first thing that strikes one when one has a look at the budget is that it is a deficit budget. It is deficit on both accounts, the revenue as well as the capital accounts. The question arises, why could not this deficit be avoided? That is the first question which presents itself to everybody. But it seems that it could not be avoided. The deficit on the revenue account is mainly on account of two reasons. The first reason is that the defense expenditure, which takes practically one half of the revenue, cannot be curtailed because of the present international situation, and the other is that the expenditure on the nation building activities cannot be curtailed. Therefore, the finance minister is justified in presenting a deficit budget. He has tried to cover up the deficit on the revenue account to a certain extent, although the whole of the deficit on the capital account has been left uncovered. A layman would ask why, when an overall deficit of rupees 318 crores was being left uncovered, a deficit of about rupees 30 crores could not be left uncovered, because if that deficit was also left uncovered, fresh taxation would not have fallen on the middle classes. But I would say that if the finance minister has not left that deficit uncovered, he has not acted against the accepted principles of public finance. It is an accepted principle of public finance that it is always prudent to cover a revenue deficit by current taxation, and that is why fresh taxation has been resorted for the purpose of recovering the revenue deficit. But again, the question arises that the whole of this deficit has not been covered, even though fresh taxation has been resorted to. There is still a deficit of about rupees 8 crores which have been left uncovered. I, for one, am not able to find a direct answer for not covering that deficit also. The only reason that strikes me is that probably we have come to the saturation point, and that it is not possible for the finance minister to tap fresh resources. This budget provides some incentives for better production and for the industrialists to come forward and do their best, and to put it negatively, whether the proposals here are such that they do not put a definite disincentive in the way of the industrialist. And the next point from which this budget should be judged is whether it provides for a better and a more equitable distribution of wealth. From the point of view of the first standard I have mentioned, the budget provides for two concessions and incentives to the industrialists. One is in the way of a 25% development rebate on the initial cost of a new plant and machinery, and the other is that business losses can be carried forward indefinitely and not for 6 years only as at present. There are concessions, but I feel that they are not very attractive or big concessions. With regard to the second point, whether the budget contains any proposals which will definitely retard production, which may definitely prove to be disincentives, I must say that this budget does not contain any such proposals. Therefore, all that can be said of this budget is that it is a neutral budget. With regard to the other standard, whether this budget provides for a better and a more equitable distribution of wealth, my reading is that a beginning has been made in that direction, but no jolt has been given towards socialism. One of the proposals is the lowering of the export duty. This is in the nature of a revenue concession. For the other proposals regarding income tax changes, the trend is only towards rationalization. What has been taken from the unmarried man is tried to be given to the married man. Some slabs have been reduced and some super tax limits. With regard to taxation, I cannot say that the rich have been taxed heavily and others have been exempted from it. On the other hand, taxation has been made to spread on as large a section of the community as possible. Probably the finance minister has acted on the well-known maxim of plucking feathers from the goose without injuring it. It would have been much better if the middle classes had been left out of fresh taxation, because sugar and cloth are the two consumer goods the taxation on which will fall mainly on the middle classes. But here too there is justification for the finance minister, because it is not possible to find out ways and means of taxation.